Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Guide Chat. I'm Jake. If you're new here, thank you for coming and finding me. Please like and subscribe. And if you are not new, please like and subscribe as well, and welcome back. So, this week's reading, I'll be covering some current event topics, of course. Just to kind of check back on some things. So, Marco Aiden Wallen was confirmed. That's something I asked, and Spirit did say that it would happen. They will to be determined on whether the second part was that he's going to be viewed as much stronger than known. The other thing was Netanyahu is still alive. He is. He's been on camera since then. I know he was away. I think still it's never been confirmed, but I was getting that he was injured and was recuperating and kind of hiding out, so to speak. The other thing that came through. I swore there was something else. Hmm. I don't think so. I don't know if I talked about the Bonnie thing last video, but she didn't really give anything, which I already talked about in a previous reading a couple weeks ago. Um, I think that is it. So far, the SAVAC hasn't passed, which I've predicted. So far, that's not supposed to pass. And if it did through a procedural thing, which might happen still, that was a possibility of an option that they might go through or thinking about. Um, we'll see. So far, they don't have enough votes. The one thing I want to talk about, because they have had about if they're going to use ground troops. I wrote this down twice. Probably because Spirit really wants me to ask this or should give you the answer. Usually, if something pops in my head more than once and I didn't think I wrote it down, it's usually because it's an important. Spirit's trying to tell me. So let's start out with that. Well, I know I forget what the number is of the Bertillon that's been being sent there, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be used. So, Spirit, let's see if they are actually going to be used. Now, I do want to say that, and I did ask this a while back, that if they do use ground troops, it's not going to be a good thing for us. But just let's see if they're actually going to be used. The other thing is that it would be a violation of the War Power Act that using ground troops, because that would need congressional approval if they actually are used. And that could be a reason why, not only because of um, the loss of lives or potential loss of lives. Again, all this, even though I put in the caption, all my videos are for entertainment purposes only. Um, but the other thing is that it may be a political downfall, part of it that adds up to it. So we're starting out with this with the Nine of Cups. This is a wish fulfillment. He is been wanting to do. Six of Cups are on its side. So with Cups, we're talking about a lot of emotional. This is very an emotional action, which of course we're dealing with human lives here. Um, he is wanting to move forward. This is showing leaving from home. This is showing the troops are leaving from their base that they were at. He's feeling that the base is he, as in Trump and the administration's feeling with this Ace of Pentacles, that this is a opportunity to flip what's been happening. It's not we have done damage and obviously and like that, but not what the progress that they're wanting to make in the past. And this shows this because with the Five of Cups, they've been very disappointed Israel and U.S. about the progress that they've been making. There's going to be some kind of deception in regards to this, the Seven of Swords. So, like I was saying, that he may, we'll see what the cards say, but there's some possibility that he may be sending the ground troops without using the ground troops. Let me correct myself, without congressional approval. So there is going to be great action. So I feel like this is going to happen. This is what he's going to make this announcement, and this is an ending. So let's see what this ending they're talking about. Um, from the outside, this is going to be an utter downfall. I'm wrong at this with the Ten of Swords. That this is not. We'll see. Maybe I'll ask a follow-up question to see what exactly this is going to be a downfall. I'm my feeling that I'm getting from this reading so far, it's not about Iran. This is about a downfall for us and the troops that are being deployed. Nine of the hopes and fears is the nine and nine of wands, and I'm feeling this is talking about Iran, that they are going to put. They've prepared for this for the last 30 years. They were preparing that they were going to get invaded. Um, for more than 30 years. What are we talking about? In the 70s? So we're talking about longer than that. But they've been preparing for this. So, and I don't think we're planned on this. We got wrong information. This is showing it's going to be much, much harder. Um, Even though sometimes when I'm doing these cards and there might be a no because Ten of Wands technically says is a no, I still think that they're going to be doing. There's a hidden agenda that's being played with the High Priestess and the Magician taking action. I do believe that we are going to use these ground troops. Um, and it's not going to be good. There's going to be unexpected consequences. I am saying unexpected the things that the military planners on both sides didn't detect was going to happen. The defenses. So, which means there's a possibility of a lot of loss um, in lives, which is. I hope I'm wrong. I very much so hope I'm wrong. So again, if we do use troops, it's not going to be a good thing. It's not going to change the progress. Actually, it's going to do quite the opposite. I am going to ask what this Ten of Swords is, a little more specific, because I want to know if they're talking about Trump politically. Are they talking about the troops? What are they referring to when people are looking on the outside? I want to say that people, the placement of that card, it's talking about our men and women's lives. But Spirit, tell me what that Ten of Swords. What are you referring to? Give me more information about that Ten of Swords in regards to using ground troops in Iran. Ooh, there we go again. Let's see what. Oh, there's too many cards that fell. I'm not going to use this one. I thought there were. Oh, I didn't do it last week. This week, cards are wanting to fly out. Sometimes I get in my thoughts and I'm in my zone and I'm not paying attention to what my hands are doing. Okay. This is talking about the actions being taking place. The magician card crossed by the Six of Swords. Um, this is action on unfinished business. This is something that Trump has want and the people in his administration has been wanting to do with Iran. And it's dealing with greediness with the devil. Here's the judgment card in the past, calling and this is a new phase that started. Um, the card. This it's sometimes talking about fairness, but it also talks about with the scales, cause and effect too, and the balance of things. There's something that there is with the Seven of Swords. There is something that they're being sneaky about by using the troops, and it's going to cause disappointment. And from the outside, they're wanting to secede. They're hoping for rapid action by using these troops. But again, it's going to cause a burden. That's what the Ten of Swords. And here we go again. Ten of Swords showing again. So what I'm seeing here is that if we use the troops, this Ten of Swords is because we're doing this for the wrong reasons. It's mainly because the foundation of the reading is the Devil card. So we're doing this based on greed. We are not being honest with the Seven of Swords, and I think the dishonesty coming from violating the War Power Act, and it's just going to end up being a disaster. And this is why, for anybody who's watching that may be a Trump supporter, and this can be for any side. I should be more general on this because I'm saying because a lot of the MAGA supporters talk about trusting the president and he's doing a great job and stuff. Da, 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 da. But there's been use of force on the other side too that haven't been great either in the past. There's a reason why we have procedures in the government to prevent this possibility of loss. Having checks and balances, mainly because supposedly with the Constitution, the three branches of government are supposed to be equal. So, again, hopefully I'm wrong about that. All right. Continuing on, since we're talking about Iran, I have a couple other questions. I want to look into the leadership in Iran because we don't get much information that we should, and definitely not out of Iran what's actually going on. So let's see what Spirit tell me give me a check, a vibe check on what the leadership of Iran, how they're doing, what their thought process is during this time. Okay. Okay. We have the King of Pentacles. I went blank for a second. I knew it was the Pentacles, and I was like, what was that again? We're talking about the wealth. That's what they're focused on. They're aware that the wealth that they have with the oil that they want to protect. The Page of Cups is crossing this. And there's some insecurities on whether they can keep their wealth maintained and stable. They feel like there's been betrayal, loss here with the Ten of Swords, so they have experienced a lot of loss right now. In the past, and this is what I've said in previous readings, if we would have not used force, they would have transitioned sooner into a more moderate state. I don't want to say there'll be a democratic state, not for a while, but they were already in a transition. And when we use force, we kind of prolonged that. It'll eventually happen, but now it's going to take longer because of things like that. There's a lot of infighting right now in the government. The Five of Wands, and they're making plans and progress. So I think, especially with not just general plans for attack, I also think if they're going to use ground troops, this is definitely a plan of how they're going to combat that. And here we go, explaining that this came up again, the Nine of Wands. This is creating their defense and how they're going to prepare for this. What's from the outside, the Trump card with the Emperor and the hopes and fears. They're hoping for some kind of proposal, and that's the question I'm going to talk about next, about that 15-point proposal. And what's coming at the end, there is unity within the government, within the leadership, with the Ten of Cups and harmony. Even though there's a lot of infighting right now on what direction to take, in the end, they're going to be sticking together because of this. Opposite of what we're wanting to do, one of the things we're wanting to do is regime change. It's not happening. It's not happening. All right. The next question, well, and last question about Iran before we move forward, is that the 15-point plan that Trump supposedly submitted to Iran, that they're looking through currently, they're contacting each other through messages, I think. And for the life of me, I don't remember which Gulf state is moderating. It's not the United Arab Emirates. It may be Qatar. I don't remember. Anyways, uh, let's see if this 15-point plan, is it a starting point? Let's do that. Is it a starting point of negotiations with Iran for future negotiations for a ceasefire? Okay. We start out with the strength card here. All right. What's being crossed with the Seven of Swords? Um, there is strength in, I think, from both sides. What I'm feeling is strength on both sides, but they are rethinking the approach. I'm thinking on both ends they're trying to figure out a way to walk away and both claim victory. Uh, there is fast thinking and action being taken with the foundation of this reading with the Knight of Swords, working diligently in the recent past on the ironing out this plan. Um, Queen of Pentacles. I want to say this plan is wanting. Trump is all about the deal and how it's going to for him and his friends, how they're going to make money. But the Queen of Pentacles, I think that's what the overall thing is, the money part. And ending this. See, and here we go with the greed, with the Devil card coming in here. Um, but here's the sudden change coming in with the Tower card. This can be dealing with the ground troops that leads to this imploding, this negotiation. Here's the King of Wands coming from the outside. I feel like this is maybe a Gulf state leader maybe coming through to eventually help with these negotiations after this Tower moment. The hopes and fears for quick wrap up of this in the Queen of Cups and stability. So I think it is a starting point. However, this gets slowed down because of this ground troop thing and the sudden loss of people. And here we go, reiterating with the Ten of Pentacles. So it's dealing with money. Um, but anyways, it's dealing with money, and the process is going to get slowed down because the use of ground troops. And I should say, if ground troops are actually used, this will slow down the ending of it. All right, where we're at time, we're doing good. All right, let's do a check-in about the DHS funding with TSA and whatnot, and there's been separate funding bills Democrats have shown have authorized that they would be willing to, within the DHS, the other departments that are within it, to fund everything except ICE until there's iron out on some agreements on some reforms with ICE. Republicans have voted each one of them down. So let's see if there will be a deal by the end of the month. I know before when I asked this question a while ago, earlier this month, I got a no. We'll see if that stays and check to see if there will be something by the next month. So. All right, a lot of failure and disappointment with the Five of Cups with the start of this. What is it being crossed by? It's being crossed by the Death card. There's a lot of resistance on both sides of resistance. The Empress card is the foundation. I think there's pressure from both sides finally realizing we have to accomplish something because people are not going to wait forever on us. They're going to act out. I mean, they're probably already starting to, but even more so. Working diligently, planting the seeds with the Seven of Pentacles. Illusions, delusions with the Moon card. I think some things they're going to have to let go and wanting to do. There with the Seven of Wands. I think we're talking about both sides trying to push off each other about how they want to fun things with the Six of Pentacles. From the outside, I think someone's going to come up with a new idea. They're going to get somebody, Page of Swords. And they're hoping this will be a new phase with the Judgment card. And in the end, it's a Nine of Swords. So no. Again, big no on the end of the month. They'll probably go on recess for I don't know if they are next week or not. I know they leave for an Easter break, but I don't know how long, but not by the end of the month. So don't be surprised that they'll go home for the Easter holiday without having an agreement while everybody else has to suffer. All right. Let's see by the end of April. By the end of April, will there be a funding agreement? Will Congress come up with a funding agreement by the end of April? Okay, so we have the Lovers card here. Let me cover up the naughty bits for YouTube. Crossed by the Nine of Pentacles. I think that they are going to try to work together, and they're still going to feel stuck, but they're in a better spot now. They're both sides are coming up with clear boundaries with the Queen of Swords here. In the recent past, they want things to go back how they were with the Six of Cups. In regards to the funding, there is more energy towards this with the Knight of Wands. And there is some kind of victory. There's something that happens, some kind of victory of coming together with the Four of Wands, even though it's taking a lot of hard work with the Ten of Wands. There's some kind of happy surprise people are going to see with some kind of deal with the Page of Cups. Their hope and fear, their hope with the Five of Wands, obviously, in the fighting amongst themselves. And yes, with the King of Pentacles, they are going to come up with something by the end of April. So maybe going home and having that break will help get some new energy in this. So dear God, hopefully that this is true, because I feel really bad for the families. I mean, I understand people in the airports and whatnot, that's frustrating. The people who are working there that aren't getting paid, it's crazy. I don't know how they've been surviving all these months. And those TSA agents, those people are like, when you're talking about government workers, they're like on the bottom of the totem pole. They're not making that much money, and to be without pay since February, that's ridiculous. Anyways, let's move on to Trump health check. It's been a while since I did a health check on him, so let's do that. Spirit, tell me, give me a health check on President Trump. Health check. All right. Right now he's with the Fool card. He's acting ridiculous, which is when is he not? But I mean, he's acting more like la-di-da kind of thing. The Four of Swords is being crossed by us. He's thinking he has all this energy and everything like this. It could be partially with his medication. I feel like he's going to get burnt out very fast soon. Or currently, he goes through extremes on energy and then it crashes. Here's the Devil card keeps on popping up when we're talking about him with the Foundation here. Overdoing it, things like that. Ace of Wands, I think there was some kind of new, when it comes to health, a new medical plan or whatnot that he's been on. Definitely he's at a crossroad with the Two of Swords. There might be something, King of Swords, he might be going in for a procedure soon. Here's the Two of Cups here. There might be talking about this new procedure, whether he should or not. And here's the choices with the Seven of Cups coming in here, probably confirming that they're thinking about whether he needs this surgery or not. There's disagreements on this with the hopes and fears with the Five of Swords. But we're going to hear something about this, the Eight of Wands. So I want to say that there is a procedure that he's going to probably have to do. He might be gone in the hospital. It's part of it has to do with overindulgence, burning out from all the stuff that's going on that it's going to happen. So there we go. Okay. I kind of wanted to do this question for a while, and I haven't had an opportunity to fit it into any of the videos. So let's look at this. I want to ask in a macro level, like with spiritually, all this upheaval that we're going through. What what's the global spiritual lesson with this huge upheaval during this time? Why are we going through this? What is the ultimate lesson spirit on all of this, all of us on earth that are living through this time period? What is the overall lesson that we are learning? I mean, there's a lot of sub lessons, of course, but this is a very macro, like I said, overall look at this. Okay, we have the Hangman. This is looking at things in a different light. Um, the Four of Swords. Are trying to look at things in a different light. Again, this is talking spiritually. Can be exhausting. We feel restless and stressed. Shocker. It's shocker spirit, We're making difficult decisions with the Two Swords. We're at a crossroad here in this world. And in the past, we were very much felt that we were nurtured. This is overall. This is not going in the nitty-gritty. We all have had, but many of us have had hardships and whatnot, spiritually, financially, health-wise, things like that. But overall, we felt that things were being provided to us. This is also talking about with the Queen of Swords. What's crowning this reading is looking at things clearly, setting up clear boundaries on how to protect ourselves spiritually. And this is about how things have been moving very rapidly with the Eight of Wands. Why? Because we're entering a new way of thinking, new way with the Ace of Wands here. And from the outside, we are seeing all these disagreements with the Five of Swords, winning at all costs, things like that. That's been part of this. But the hope and fear is that this would be a hope with the Two of Wands, that we're hoping that we're making progress and moving forward and leaving how we used to think by going through this. Right when I said moving away from used to things, I have the Six of Swords. This is a transition out of troubled water. So we're moving away from our old way and coming up with new ideas with the Page of Wands and having mental clarity with the Ace of Swords. So overall, what Spirit is saying, why we all are here during this major time of upheaval. And again, this is looking at things in an overall macro level. We're not looking at specifics. There's tons of variations of smaller lessons that each one of us are learning during this time. But the general thing is that Spirit is trying to teach us spiritually to look at things in a different way, look with boundaries, unbiased judgment, because we are going to move into a new era of thinking clearly, thinking with empathy, thinking about what's best for us as a collective versus just ourselves. Not to say that we can't think of what's best for us too, but moving away from that just me kind of attitude. into a better, clearer phase. So there you go. All right. So I'm really excited with the general message for today. I'm using these oracle cards that I got. I went to this little spring festival near my house. Oops. In this oracle deck, first of all, can we? I love this oracle deck. Look at the. I don't know if this is going to show well in the camera. You can see how it sparkles on the side. This deck is called Seasons of the Witch, Ostara Oracle. So this is the time period we're in. Pagan season called Ostara, which starts at the start of spring. So let's see what Spirit has a general message for us all using these oracle cards. And also, I love the artwork in these cards. You'll see. We'll start with 3 cards. We'll go from there, see if we need any clarifiers. All right. So we start with the Moon Milk card. I'm going to show it up closely. So there's nothing like creating a self-care ritual for ourselves right now. And this is what I was talking about, that even though we're moving away and thinking it differently, we can still take care of ourselves during the same time. And this is the next card, Painted Eggs here. So we're learning through, by taking care of ourselves inside, spiritually, on the outside. We're also pursuing the truth of what's going on, who I am, how do I play the role out here, and how can I help others, right? And then we have Flora. Excuse me, I'm mispronouncing. Floromancy. So this is a time to escape from all the noise and can still with the guidance that's pulling you inward. So taking time away from your phones, away from your computers, but of course, subscribe and like to my channel, right? This is time to go outside if you can. Take time to yourself in your room. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I have to have a whole hour to spend and stuff like that. You don't have to have time, even 5 minutes before you go to bed, and just think about it. I'm going to get some more clarifiers. And you're going to feel more nourished with the Irish moss here. Let's get some more clarifying. Composting. Remembering what we've been going through in the past to create a better future for yourself. All the things that we're going through is a purpose to make things better in the future. And the last thing I'm going to say, a community garden. Again, in all this, starting with our own selves, taking time for our own selves can flourish into creating a community that's more together, more empathetic. And this is how, going back to the last question, how we move and make progress into this new way of thinking. All right. So with that being said, thank you all for joining me today. I hope to see you next week. And with that being said, love you guys. Bye-bye.